A young hero sets off on a journey to find something, not treasure, not glory. He seeks the Big E, his missing monarch. His path leads him through the spaces between worlds until he stumbles upon a legendary realm whispered of in old tales. Fauna. But Fauna is empty, desolate. Whatever ruled here, whatever lived here, something catastrophic has swept it all away. So he keeps on going, from world to world, chasing the faint echo of what he's lost. He passes mighty clockwork towers grinding against the sky, shimmering realms of light and storm, and creatures in the void that turn to watch him as he passes. With every step, with every gate, with every horizon, he feels it, a pull towards something greater. Is it dread? Is it elation? He cannot tell. At last, at the edge of the void, he finds a cave, and there in the dark waiting, it feels like the end of his journey, or the beginning of something else. A voice rises from the dark and says, "Welcome to the Hogfell Nomination Awards. These are your nominees this year." A young hero sets off on a journey to find something, not treasure, not glory. He seeks the Big E, his missing monarch. His path leads him through the spaces between worlds until he stumbles upon a legendary realm whispered of in old tales. Fauna. But Fauna is empty, desolate. Whatever ruled here, whatever lived here, something catastrophic has swept it all away. So he keeps on going, from world to world, chasing the faint echo of what he's lost. He passes mighty clockwork towers grinding against the sky, shimmering realms of light and storm, and creatures in the void that turn to watch him as he passes. With every step, with every gate, with every horizon, he feels it, a pull towards something greater. Is it dread? Is it elation? He cannot tell. At last, at the edge of the void, he finds a cave, and there in the dark waiting, it feels like the end of his journey, or the beginning of something else. A voice rises from the dark and says, "Welcome to the Hogfell Nomination Awards. These are your nominees this year." A young hero sets off on a journey to find something, not treasure, not glory. He seeks the Big E, his missing monarch. His path leads him through the spaces between worlds until he stumbles upon a legendary realm whispered of in old tales. Fauna. But Fauna is empty, desolate. Whatever ruled here, whatever lived here, something catastrophic has swept it all away. So he keeps on going, from world to world, chasing the faint echo of what he's lost. He passes mighty clockwork towers grinding against the sky, shimmering realms of light and storm, and creatures in the void that turn to watch him as he passes. With every step, with every gate, with every horizon, he feels it, a pull towards For those of us just joining in, I've been talking to myself for the last 30 minutes. I did not realize the mic was off. I apologize deeply. I don't know why I did this. The mic was off the entire time. I've just been yapping to myself. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're gonna have to do this from the start again. I'm gonna have to repeat what I've said, put more enthusiasm in, and like, I don't know, be happy. I'm so sorry. I thought I was talking the entire time, but yeah, I'm so sorry. Oh God. Okay, we'll do it again from the top. I'll try to pretend I haven't said this before. Okay, so if you just came from the intro cinematic, this is where hero's journey begins, the Hogfell nomination awards. Tonight, we're not picking winners, we're just building the battlefield, picking all their chess pieces. We're going through every category on my channel, all the stories, and by the end of the stream, you'll know exactly who's up for what award. Or if you just click on the link that's pinned right now, you can get a little sneak peek. But for now, just grab a drink, maybe chill and chat for a little bit, and we can see what's going on in the Hogfell nomination awards. Again, bear with me. I have to remember what I've been talking about because I apparently have not been paying attention. And if I surmise based on the nominations itself that most of you will vote for whatever Ghost in the City was, because Ghost in the City is by far the most nominations ever on my channel. Like, the amount of nominations that this story has is crazy. It surprised me. I didn't realize it was that popular, but Ghost in the City swept everything. It was had a hand in every nomination. So first we're going to start off with The Great Remembrance. This is every story that's been gone from my channel. Stories that I can't post anymore due to publishing or the authors requesting it be taken down. First off is Ajax Ascension. This is a story that really put my channel on the map. I'm not gonna lie. This was the first video that hit 1,000 views, that hit 10,000 views, that hit 100,000 views. This was the most popular story on my channel by far until it was taken down. It was honestly the one thing that put my channel on the map. I was really glad I posted this story because I was reading it as well, and the author Kelleros gladly allowed me permission to post TTS chapters, and it sort of really started off my entire channel. So I'll always be grateful to him for introducing me into this world. Basically, the story just kept on climbing and climbing and climbing, and the story was really, really good. People really enjoyed it. Next up is The Boundless Expanse. This was taken off my channel about a month ago, so it's still relatively fresh on people's minds. I had 4 books. The author was going to publish it and requested I took it down. The publishing is still not out yet, but hopefully by the end of the year, I'll have a little more news on that. But it's a story that also kept on climbing. The protagonist is fighting gods, fighting demons, fighting all these things. The story is going crazy. Oh my goodness, it was really good. Next up is Reborn as a Dragon, Book 1. Yeah, this was taken down about a year ago now. It was also one thing that put my channel on that. This might have been the first story I posted on my channel ever. And I'm so glad that the author, Simo, allowed me to post TTS chapters as well. It really felt like you were a big ass dragon doing magic and casting spells and doing all these things. The story was really cool as well. White Goblin Book 1. This was taken off my channel still relatively about 3 months ago. It's a humble goblin story that was really cool as well, and people really liked it, so I really liked it as well. Him leading his tribe, him inspiring people, that was really awesome. It felt like a mini kingdom builder almost. Next up is Heavenless Ascension. This is it's a weird one. It was erased on my channel about 3 months ago. It's a cultivation story. It's like a classic twist on a cultivation story. It had some unique things about it though, and it was really cool. People really liked it as well. It got a nomination. Next up is Best New Arrival. So these are stories that were posted on my channel 6 months ago. I considered doing a month ago, but that was too fresh and there weren't enough stories on my channel yet. So 6 months was the limit. I would do a year ago, but that might have been too many stories in that scope. So 6 months was like just right. So first up is Sickle Jack. This is a story by Nate Krotz. He allowed me to post it on my channel. He messaged me. He wanted his cyberpunk story out there. And I was like, cyberpunk? Oh my God. People have been begging me for a cyberpunk story this entire time. This seems like a perfect fit. So I was like, okay, I got you, Nate. I'm going to put this on my channel, see how it does. And it's doing well right now. It's so cute. or sorry, cute. It's so razor sharp, edgy, new entry in the cyberpunk genre, and lots of people are saying, "Oh my god, this is new. This sounds amazing." Next up is Summoning America, which is really new. It's 2 weeks new, I think. It's the freshest story on my channel. What if you hit summon and summon the entire United States? So that's a really big premise, just straight off the bat. Whoa. And people seem to like that time an American was reincarnated into another world. So that's why I went along this genre and found something like this. It's a fan fiction too as well. But if you don't know the original story, you can also enjoy this really well. And next up is Steel Waste. Whoa, the Steel Waste. I was surprised by the outpouring of love for the story. I had to rush a couple episodes out because people were like, more. I was like, okay, I got you. I don't forget about Steel Waste. We have about 700 chapters of this story and aiming to get posted before this end of the year. So if you're a fan of that story, look forward to that. Next up is Arcane Exfil. This is a really new story as well that won't be posted on my channel anymore because the author did get picked up for publishing. So the first 20 chapters on my channel are it. There won't be any more, unfortunately. But while it was there, it was a pretty good tactical story about magic, danger, special forces soldiers learning to live in this new world. No, it's not like a go-lucky protagonist. These are hardened war veterans. They don't really tolerate error, and they're really focused, and you can tell that in the story. Next up is From Righteous to Villain. This is pretty self-explanatory. What happens if you fall from grace, and what happens if the good guy stops holding back? What if you become a villain? That's it. Next up, we have Best Narration and Performance. As you know, I am a TTS channel, so it's very hard to nail down the performance stuff. It's really hard to nail down the narration. It's hard to make the stories feel lived in, but somehow these stories did it. These stories showed us that even if it is a TTS program, hey, maybe you can turn stories into absolute cinema. First up is The Exalt. 745 chapters of Oscar doing... Ooh, people are really mad about this story. People have strong opinions about The Exalt. I won't comment on that, but the narration was heavily commented on. People really liked it. People really like the drama. People really like Oscar's inner thoughts, so that was here. Next up is Skyrim and Sorcerer's Tale. So Skyrim, magic, reincarnation. Whew, people love this story. And I'm sad to see it end. It is going on hiatus now. That's unfortunate. But while it was here, it was a world you wish you lived in. Next up is Steel Waste, the grimy, harsh wasteland. I felt like you were really living in it. I felt like you were scraping shit off the bottom of a barrel. So people really like that aspect of the story. Next up is Ghost in the City, which I mentioned is the most nominated story on the channel by far. People really like the performance, and I was surprised. I didn't really think it was good, but hey, maybe you really want to feel like you're in Night City. Okay, let me just read chat for a little bit. Funky Crow said, I just submitted my ballot. Thank you so much for running this channel. It's brought me so many amazing stories, and I would have never found it otherwise. Thank you, Funky Cowie, for watching this live stream, and thank you for commenting that. I appreciate it. And Damble99110 said, just submitted my ballot. Ghost in the City is so good. I agree. Ghost in the City is really good. Refugee Heretic said, just yapping, not for the money. Okay, yeah, I was yapping for a little bit. Miles says, been listening for a while. Reborn as a Dragon is in fact a damn good story. I do agree. You haven't listened to Ghost in the City yet. You should. People really seem to love it. And you are really listening to Skyrim right now. That's good. People do enjoy Summoning America. I do agree. Next up is A Cyborg in a Wasteland. This is an old story that has 99 chapters. It's on hiatus, unfortunately, now. But the voice really sells how stubborn and broken the world is, I guess. People really seem to like it. Next up is Best Epic Marathon. So people just clicked chapter 1 and didn't stop. All these stories have 200 plus chapters at the very least, leaning into the heavy 300 plus territory. These are stories that have chapters that you'll just binge and binge and binge and binge and binge and binge and binge. So first up on the nomination is obviously Ghost in the City again. It has over 200 plus chapters, and people really seem to like binging it over the weekend. People really seem to like re-downloading Cyberpunk 2077 while listening to this. That was a common theme I saw in the comments as well. Next up is Getting Warhammered. So basically, people really like Warhammer. People really like the lore. People really like listening to the lore. So people really like listening to the lore for long periods of time.
If you like lore, I recommend getting Warhammer for that itch. Next up is The Devourer, which is a story that gives me headaches. I don't know if the sexual content will get my channel struck down someday because it's just so much. But while it's here, sink your teeth into it. And that was a pun. Next up is Steel Waste. This is a new story on my channel that has 700 chapters, 700 plus chapters on my channel. It will be posted eventually by the end of this year, hopefully. But if you want to live in a wasteland for hours, this is perfect for you. Next up is That Time an American was reincarnated into another world. People just kept on coming back to the story, coming back. And hopefully by the end of this year, there'll be a chapter 1 to 300 version of this video once the chapters come out. That's looking to be over, I think, close to 100 hours long. It might even suppress that. It might even be the longest channel, longest video on my channel eventually. Next up is the most overlooked gems. I have a lot of stories on my channel, and sometimes they do get overlooked. Sometimes people don't really mention them. Sometimes they're just hidden. Sometimes they have low view counts. Sometimes people don't see them. So first up is Azir Awakening. This is a Naruto fan fiction story. People really seem to like it. It's a very slow burn, but in a slow burn kind of fan fiction way, where it's like it very quickly speeds up. Next up is another fan fiction, Cursed Eyes. People really like this crossover. I guess it's two of the big three, so people really like the archetype. Oh, next up is Archetype. Body horror, superhero, psychological weirdness. This is somehow slept on. People don't really like the slow burn aspect of it, but it is a slow burn, so you're going to have to wait until the fire heats up. And once the fire heats up, it'll keep on burning. Next up is Gate, War of Two Worlds. It's a modern military versus a fantasy empire. It's another Gate fanfiction, just like Summoning America. I'll compare those two. I'll maybe run a poll asking people which they like better. It has a lot of nuance, and even if you didn't read the original fanfiction or the original fiction, this still has benefits. You can still read this. Next up is Super Soldier in Another World. This is a relatively new one. Book 3, Chapter 1 to 30 will be posted soon on my channel because it does have to get published eventually, which is, the author did say this year, so we're nearing to a close yet. And I do see him working on the cover image, so it'll be gone from my channel relatively soon, but not before I post a bit of book 3. It's a classic Isekai power fantasy, and people really like to put themselves in the shoes of protagonists. Next up is the world building. This is really hard to get right, but once you do get it right, people really love it. People like picking out little details. People like making theories, commenting on what's good, what's bad. People really love world building. Refugee says, I think a French Canadian in another world could be the best brand new story on your channel. Was that just missed the nominee cutoff, I believe. A couple people mentioned it, but not as much as the others. Miles says the world of Warhammer is fun to listen to. That is true, and it is fun to be part of the story from a character's perspective, especially since you know more about the lore than they do sometimes. Or maybe they know a lot about the lore, so they're just going around doing crazy things. Best world building. First is That Time an American was reincarnated into another world. It started off as a comedy story and slowly became a whole functioning world. Enchanting melodies. This is a Harry Potter fan fiction, so maybe a little bit of cheating there, taking bits and pieces from Harry Potter, but it does expand upon the lore. There's music, there's magic, there's all sorts of emotions, and there's systems that were not there in the original story. Next up is I'm Going to Be a Wizard When I Grow Up. This is an old story on my channel by Hallisty. It's a brutal world, or it's not really brutal. It has very deep magical rules that are really interesting to learn about. Next up is the Immortal Berserker, also by Hallisty. This is a brutal world. Death is like a speed bump. People kill each other like crazy. Oh my god! If you like blood, violence, strength, read Hallisty stories because they have a lot of that. Next up is Bookstore Mage. This is basically like, oh, you read Bookstore Mage, it's like, oh, this is gonna be a cozy story. It is cozy, but you have to pay attention to every little detail the author drops in there, and you have to build the world yourself. It's really fun that way as well. Next up is the best character arc. These are protagonists from series going through character arcs. That Time American was reincarnated into another world. Just missed the cutoff for this award. People were actually arguing whether he had a character in the comments. It was kind of funny. But first off, we have a character from Mad God. I don't want to spoil the story, but the character was a super powerful god that doesn't really have that power anymore. So it's like a divinity losing its mind a little bit. It has that element of that people really like. Next up is Avatar: A Lost Survivor and Pandora. It's like, if you watch the movies, you already know the world is kind of brutal and people don't really survive, or at least don't survive without coming out changed. So the story, I can give little hints to that sort of change that happens. Next up is I'm Going to Be a Wizard When I Grow Up Again. Okay, read the title and come up with your own little theories. Like, oh, he wants to be a wizard when he grows up. What happens when he actually grows up? Is he going to be a wizard? Is his dream as a kid going to collide with reality? Is it going to become something more? So that's a really interesting aspect to talk about. Next up is Unspoken Words of Magic. This is another Halsey story. Halsey stories, in terms of character depth and emotion, they're mentioned a lot. So I would really recommend this story too, if you want a protagonist that you can relate to sometimes. Next up is Path of the Hive Queen. This is pretty self-explanatory. She goes from being a reincarnated human who's sort of lost in the world to being this queen who's carrying the entire hive on her back, essentially. She has to be competent very, very quickly. Funky says Unspoken Words of Magic had the best character arc. I couldn't really get into Hive Queen. Best overall fan fiction story. Now this was probably like one of the most hotly debated voting sections ever. People were arguing, people were talking to each other. Obviously, one thing that was consistent was Ghosts in the City and Pokemon Trainer Vicky, both stories by oh my god, I forgot the name. Jesus. Ghosts in the City. Why did I forget the name? But Ghosts in the City and Pokemon Trainer Vicky are both by the same author. Those were always in contention. Those two were mentioned a lot. Those two were never debated, but everything else heavily debated. Ghosts in the City is a Cyberpunk 2077 gamer SI. So basically, you get reincarnated into the world of Cyberpunk, or maybe not reincarnated, but you have a system, you have some sort of game logic around you, and you're like, oh shit, you're in Night City, you're basically fucked. If you play the game, you know what I mean. Pokemon Trainer Vicky, you're a Pokemon trainer, you have Pokemon, you battle around the world. There's really not much to say unless you read the story for yourself. Some people don't really like the childlike demeanor of the protagonist. Some people do. It's up to you. Next up is Marvelous Ninjutsu. It's like Marvel and Naruto mashed in a way that shouldn't work, but it does. It's a pretty interesting twist on the genre, even though sometimes it does feel a little bit cliche. Next up is Enchanting Melodies. This is another fan fiction from for Harry Potter. It stands on its own. I would say it stands on its own. If the author wanted to, they could alter details of the story to make it stand on a story. It clearly be inspired by Harry Potter, but it's possible. Next up is Space Marine in Star Wars. What if you dropped a Space Marine into Star Wars? What happens? That's entirely the premise of the story. I can't believe I don't remember the author's name of Ghost in the City. It's actually bad for me. Ghost in the City. Ghost in the City, Ghost in the City, Ghost in the City. Ghost in the City is by Saras. Yes, Saras. Yes, Saras. Next nominations would be Best Psychological Story. This is like the protagonist is going through things. And what better example would that be? I personally believe Exalt should win this. If you've ever read Exalt, you know exactly what I mean. Sometimes the protagonist gets really tiring, really fast. But first up is That Time American was reincarnated into another world. So it started off as a joke, then we get into trauma and how power affects you. Next up is Exalt, a character juggling power, responsibility, his own sanity. Sometimes he fails, sometimes he doesn't. Enchanting Melodies, grief, magic wrapped together into something. Hogwarts, Era of Darkness. What if the wizarding world was much darker than it is now? It's much darker. And then Gate is just the psychological impact of also crossing worlds, because some things aren't the same. Some people aren't the same, and maybe you're missing people that literally can never be here again. Next up is Best Satire and Meta-Isekai Story. Miles says Space Marine in Star Wars is the one I really enjoyed. It may provoke an uncomfortable feeling at certain points, but there is true writing skill there. And Refugee says Pokemon Trainer Vicky is the cutest, most wholesome story ever. Now Funky says Hogwarts Era of Darkness is the one, but Exalt is a close second. This is a satire story. If you've ever watched the anime Overlord, or if you've watched an isekai that makes fun of itself, or any story that makes fun of itself, this is a genre that does it. An important part is still actually delivering a good story. First off, we have Serum by the author Spade, a regular on this channel. Serum is basically power-ups, side effects. The main character is aware of what he's doing and how he's doing it. He knows how this world works. He's gaming it sometimes. Next up is Gate War of Two Worlds. It's an isekai trope that knows it's an isekai trope. It knows that this is America. It knows that America is going to do American things. It knows that Japan is going to do a Japan thing. It makes fun of countries and their stereotypes and what they would do if they were in this situation. I was surprised it got nominated as well, but here it is. Next up is Space Marine and Star Wars. What if we break this universe on purpose? People really like the way the Force and what's that energy in Warhammer? Psychics, that the warp, yeah. People really like the way that the warp and psychics interacted, I guess. Because next up is Elder Cultivator. It's a cultivation story that knows it's a cultivation story and tries to play it on its head by bringing it old age and sort of this awareness that this old character has, that he knows he's old and he has all these knowledge and he's looking at all these younglings and he's like, I don't really want to participate in all that nonsense. And the Enlightened, this is a story on my channel I actually don't know much about. There are new parts expected soon. A character goes through an apocalypse. It's winking at you sometimes. You know exactly what's going to happen in like a system apocalypse. I guess that's why it was nominated. Next up, we have Best Overall Original Story. So no fan fictions here, just original stories. And obviously, first up is That Time an American Was Reincarnated into Another World. It's an original fantasy story. Despite a lot of people seeming to think it's a fan fiction, it is an original story. It's not really a surprise. It's become a pillar of the channel. And next up is a surprise, a French Canadian in Another World. This was posted just a month ago and it quickly has a lot of popularity. It is based on That Time American was reincarnated into another world. It's sort of like its older brother, but it's there. And then next up is A Cyborg in the Wasteland. This is a really popular story as well. People are always asking me for more and more and more. So here it is. Next up is Serum, another story by Spade. It's a Meta-Isekai, its own vibe, with its own identity. And it's really popular. People are also asking me for more. And Devourer. It's hungry. The character's hungry. The character's cruel. It has a lot of emotional moments, but people really like this story. And these are all, I would agree, these are all stories that define the channel in one way or another. Except maybe French Canadian in Another World. Actually, a lot of people actually like that. I would replace it with maybe that I'm gonna be a wizard when I grow up again, or Immortal Berserker. One of Hallis's stories, maybe. That's just my opinion, though. Next up is Best Sci-Fi Story. A lot of these are just 2077 fanfictions. Actually, almost are they all? No, they're all 2077 fanfictions or Fallout fanfictions. But this is sci-fi stories with starships, cybernetics, features, and science-bent realities full of trouble. First up is A Cyborg in the Wasteland. It shouldn't really be a surprise. It's really popular. People are always asking for more. There's Retro Future Misery. Next up is Steel Waste. Tech and ruin blended together in one harsh vision. Next up is Getting Warhammered. This is a sci-fi fantasy Warhammer fanfiction. People really seem to love this story. Next up is Ghost in the City. There's corpos, there's a lot of chrome, there's a gamer brain dropped in the middle of it all. People really like this as well. Next up is Skitterdog 2077. A protagonist trying to manage a city and survive, held together by stitches, neon perhaps, implants, patch-ups, trying to do whatever you can to survive. Next up is the Best Horror / Dark Story. Body horror, cosmic horror, moral horror, just anything that really scares you, something that tells you that you're never really safe. First up is Hogwarts Age of Darkness. So, what if Hogwarts was a horror setting instead of a school? Next up is Enchanting Melodies. Soft on the surface, really devastating underneath. And these are no, these are not the same author, but they're both Hogwarts fan fictions. So that's a surprise that they turned the Harry Potter into such a dark fan fiction. Next up is Serum. If you've read the story, you know there's a lot of body horror, bad decisions, and consequences that stick, literally. Next up is Getting Warhammered, because Warhammer is never really safe or sane. And next up is Devourer. This, you don't really know who you're rooting for in this story. You don't even, I don't even like the main protagonist. Wait, oh my goodness, did I skip? Oh no, okay. You did not see that. Next up is Best Historical / Military Story. These didn't really get a lot of nominees, but it was Gate, Arcane Exfil, and Summoning America. Next up is Best Fantasy Story, and this was contentious. This was another hotly debated one. So Exalt has epic fantasy vibes, a lot of monsters, powers, secret societies, two-faced people, extraordinary levels of world building and growth. Immortal Berserker has kind of this like I wouldn't say Game of Thrones, but this sort of harsh vibe that it gives off in the fantasy world. It's very classical fantasy as well. Made among superheroes, the superhero does get transported into a superhero world, so but they get nominated. And fantasy does mean impossible. Fantasy could be a superhero setting as well. Origin Seeker, and then reborn as a dragon. Next up is Best Drama. So basically, you got drama. People love to hear people talk to each other, make fun of each other, laugh, love, live, and all that sort of stuff. So the story is sort of in that genre as well. So for stories that hit the hardest when the fighting stopped, emotion, politics, family, and consequences. So we have the Exalt, Marvelous Ninjutsu, May the Warp with You is another one I haven't talked about yet, but let me give a brief about it if you haven't heard about it yet. It's basically faith, madness, relations. It was a choose your own adventure story that I edited to fit the channel. So some choices may be like, huh, why did the character do that? It was a choose your adventure story. And it was really, really fun reading a Star Wars and Warhammer crossover. This is like the second or third one on my channel. Next up is The Red Hand. If you've ever watched Overlord or SAO, this is sort of in that vein, but remarkably different. Next up is White Goblin, which I've talked about before. It's really interesting as well. So this is contemporary urban story. People really had a lot of trouble with this concept of contemporary, but it's just basically exploring things that happen, like contemporary things that happen, if that makes sense. So I put a little blurb that says set in the present or recent past, exploring apocalypses, hellscapes, or government overreach. So exactly what that means is basically just talking and exploring about things. The first is Ghost in the City, the most nominated story on the channel. People really love this story. Archetype, escaping governments, hiding out, trying to find your own way in the world. Summoning America, the political and military consequences of an entire country getting summoned into another world. Thread Lightly. This is the only nomination this story has, which I was disappointed by. It's a really, really good story. It's quiet, it's grounded, it's long if you want that sort of binge. I'll maybe upload another version of this soon, but it's really everything here. Next up, we have Best Comedy Story. This is an interesting nomination because there's a lot of nominees for this one as well that narrowly lost out as well. Refugee says, May the Warp with You is absolutely peak. I do agree. For the story that made you laugh out loud, chaos, subverted tropes, and big feelings, Skyrim, A Sorcerer's Tale. Pokemon Trainer Vicky, Ghost in the City, White Goblin, and Marvelous Ninjutsu. There are a lot of fan fiction here, but with fan fiction you can sort of play around with characters, and I guess that's why it was hugely important here. Next up is Best Adventure Story. So these are the journeys that pulled protagonists far from home into new worlds, strange allies, and terrifying new enemies. First we have Skitterdog 2027, Origin Seeker, Damage Over Time, which I don't think I've talked about yet, but it has been deleted from the internet, and I'm unsure about its status on the channel. The author might reach out and ask me to delete this, and I will concur. But just read it if you haven't yet. It's a pretty fun story. It has a really good premise. The author First Bite does really write really good stories. Next up is Super Soldier in Another World. Its first appearance in an award show, and that time American was reincarnated into another world. Now we have the best action story. Action and adventure are closely linked, but very different. So these are for fights, chases, and explosions that kept you wide awake. Non-stop momentum and high stakes. First nomination is That Time American was reincarnated into another world. Serum, Exalt, Boundless Expanse, and Rogue Knight. I don't think I've talked about Rogue Knight yet. It's a fan fiction about Star Wars. It's about a character who has the willingness to break the rules. He doesn't really want to do it. He doesn't really give a shit about anything. He just does what he wants. And the final award, or the second to last award, might be the most contentious ever, which is Best Author. Now, when I made a community poll, no one really responded to the prompt. They all had questions about stories and updates in their status, so I didn't really have anyone to draw from. But I did ask the Discord server and then message some people, and this is the list they came up with, which I will admit it is a bit small, but we were limited to 5 nominees. So let's go through them before we talk a little bit more about this. Halsty, who has written a lot of big stories on this channel. He's written I'm Gonna Be a Wizard When I Grow Up Again, Immortal Berserker, Mage Among Superheroes, among many others. He's a staple of this channel, and his stories always see people and really enjoying them. Next up is Corey. He's written a lot of fan fiction: Hogwarts, Heir of Darkness, Steel and Mana. There's another From Righteous to Villain. A lot of stories that have been on my channel recently as well. Next up is Spade, which you all know from That Time an American was reincarnated to another world. Serum, Origin Seeker. Next up we have Negros, whose an author's written Skyrim, the author of Steel Wish, And last up we have Dagoth, which is the author of Skyrim. Now, I have realized that this isn't really a good list because we are missing people. Specifically, we're missing Ceres, which is the author of Pokemon Trainer Vicky and Ghost in the City, which I did recognize a little bit too late. But I've remedied this a little bit in the official award show. Ghost in the City was the most nominated story in this award show. By far, it had the most votes of anything. So I'll do a special award to commemorate Ghost in the City and the author Ceres. I sort of like an apology for not including them here, because I'm sure they would win this award, or maybe Spade would win. But so just basically giving them an award for the most nominations here, which will be in the official award show when that happens. That's my compromise. Damble says list is missing Ceres. Funky Cowie says Halsty is good author, and Cordy is really good too. Yeah, all these are really good authors. I should have broadened the range a little bit and made sure that authors who only have a single story on the channel weren't here, but that felt a little bit too limiting. So, and the final award of the night, this one is the People's Champion. So basically, this is like, if you were reading a story right now, you're listening to something, and you felt like, oh man, he didn't really talk about this, or the story deserved to win some of these awards. Oh my god, the story deserved to be here. So the People's Champion is, which single story on the channel would you hand out the biggest trophy to above others? What's your personal favorite? What's your good? What do you want to see win this award? So it's a write-in category. So on the website, you'll see there's a little text box, and you can write in the story you want to see. This is any story on the channel, past, present, future. So basically, I want to see who actually wins this, because there were a lot of underrepresented stories here, but these were the stories with the most nominations, not necessarily the best. So just write in what you felt like should have been here, what you felt like should have won more awards, which story you felt was the best, and what you felt was your favorite. And that's pretty much it for the nomination show. I'll be looping a live stream so people can just tune in and look at the choices before voting out. And then The award show will be held in about 2 weeks. The date still hasn't been decided yet, but it is in 2 weeks before voting's closed. So I will put that in the description that you have 2 weeks to vote. And that's pretty much it. If you voted already, thank you for voting. If you visited his website, if you watched the live stream, if you commented, if you liked, if you subscribed, if you watched any video of mine, thank you for supporting. Thank you for being here. Thank you for chatting in chat if you're chatting in chat right now. And that's pretty much it. I will be looping this, but don't be surprised to see a live stream come up with a little bit more here. But I won't be here. I won't be talking to you. I'll just be recording. All right.